But as far as teams making the playoffs, missing the playoffs. So right now, here's where I'm at. And I want to get Femi's thoughts on it. So I think the Yankees are in. I think the Yankees are going to make it, which they're a huge favorite to make it. Judge is going to win AL MVP pending health. Luis Gil's going to be back. You would expect Brian Cashman to be aggressive at the deadline. I think the Yankees are going to win the AL East, and the Yankees will be in the playoffs. I think Detroit, at this point, I don't know what the case is going to be for Detroit not to make the playoffs. As much as I dislike that cheater, A.J. Hinch, I have to acknowledge that he's an awesome manager. Scooble's great, and Detroit has been the story of the baseball season in a positive way. Colorado probably like the story of the season, obviously, in a negative way. But it feels like Detroit's going to make it. Shout out to Femi and everybody in the Pacific Northwest. I feel like Seattle's going to make it, whether the Mariners win the AL West or not. George Kirby, back to being George Kirby. Logan Gilbert going to be back. And how good is Cal Raleigh? I think Seattle's making the playoffs, whether they win the division or not. I think the Mariners are going to make it. I still think Texas is going to make it. Corey Seager. I love me the Texas Rangers. Bruce Bochy and his huge dome. I actually think, and I don't like saying this because I'm a Yankee fan, obviously, the Red Sox, look at the teams in baseball, not just in the AL, but in all of baseball, that are where like the Red Sox are in the standings. Boston has a plus 17 run differential right now, and the Red Sox are in fourth place in the American League East. Like compare and contrast with the Royals, who are actually 3 games over, run differential -1. The Angels are in fourth place in the AL West, run differential -54. The Nats, fourth place in the NL East, run differential -48. The Reds, interestingly enough, are plus 28 run differential and 1 game under 500. And then the NL West is absolutely stacked from top to bottom. But I think it's very likely we're going to see positive regression coming for the Boston Red Sox. And I speaking of cheaters, I do think Alex Cora is a fantastic manager. I think Boston's going to be able to get in as well. Now, in the National League, I think we have 4 teams that are definitely in the NL playoffs. The Phillies, who have the best record in baseball right now by half game over the Tigers. The Mets, I think, are definitely in, and you know that they're going to add at the deadline for sure. I think the Cubs are going to win the National League Central, PCA and company, and the LA Dodgers will make it, of course, right? Because I would say pending health, but everyone was hurt last year and they won the World Series. And here's where it gets interesting in the National League, right? If we think those 4 teams are going to make it, the betting market does as well. I think it leaves us with a couple really fun bets to place at plus money, teams to make the playoffs, and one at minus money. So this is AL and NL. These are bets that I placed earlier today, teams to make the playoffs in Major League Baseball. The one minus price is Atlanta, is the Braves at -130. With Acuna back, Strider, I know that things have not gone great recently for Atlanta since the last time we talked about them, which was a week ago today, I think, right, to win the NL East ahead of Acuna possibly coming back. I'm going to bet on Atlanta figuring it out, on the Braves figuring it out. -130, Braves to make the playoffs. Now, for 3 plus money prices to make. The Red Sox at +184. Again, I think we're going to see regression in a good way for Boston. The Texas Rangers to make the playoffs. +148 or +150, somewhere in that range for Texas. And Jake Hassan's Arizona Diamondbacks, where I trust that front office, and I think this lineup is deep, and I think they're going to figure it out. The Diamondbacks to make it +138. I like the D-backs ultimately more than the Giants. I like the D-backs ultimately more than the Padres in the NL West. I do like the Dodgers more than the Diamondbacks, but I like Arizona quite a bit. So Braves, Red Sox, Rangers, Diamondbacks to make the playoffs here on the Tuesday after Memorial Day. And make me pick a World Series right now. Begrudgingly, I'll say Dodgers over Yankees again, which makes me sad. Hopefully the Rangers get back into form, and maybe Texas can topple the Dodgers when it's all said and done and win another World Championship for us on You Better You Bet here on this Tuesday. Femi, you have a couple award thoughts in Major League Baseball now that we're past Memorial Day. Do you have any playoff thoughts before you get to those? And the floor is yours here.
Yeah, I'd say playoff thoughts for me. Where we differ, I would say that Like I think the Mets, Padres, and Braves will be the wild card. That's like where we differ. I don't think the Diamondbacks are going to get in. Like they're really good, and I want to buy into it, but there's just only so many seats. I think the Padres are a little bit better. I think the Braves are going to make that step forward, like you mentioned. So I'm out on the D-backs making it because I do think that we get Phillies, Cubs, Dodgers as our division winners. Like usually you get the division winners who are leading currently in Memorial Day weekend, and I'm Royals instead of Red Sox in the American League wild card. Like at some point, I don't know when. At some point, Jack Caglione is going to get called up for Kansas City. Maybe that injects some life into that lineup that has been lifeless. Like we're still waiting on Bobby Witt Jr. to get his power numbers back up to what they usually are. Sometimes that happens in the second half of the season. He has been hitting for average, but not really hitting for power. I think that's how the Kansas City lineup comes alive. So I would go Royals, given the fact that they're playing in the Central, which is a tough division, but they have the pitching staff to do it and to carry them through the summer. So I like Kansas City, Texas, and Seattle as my wild cards because I still think that Houston wins the AL West because the Astros are inevitable, and I'm just always waiting for the Mariners to blow the division as they did a couple of years ago when they had like a 9-game lead and somehow found a way to lose it.
You think the Mariners are going to make it?
Yeah, I think they'll make it. I think they'll make the playoffs as a wild card. Like they're going to get Kirby back at some point. Hopefully Gilbert comes back as well to bolster that pitching rotation because the lineup has actually been what's been succeeding for Seattle. It hasn't been the pitching. Like the offense has been better than the defense. I think that the Mariners make it once they get those arms back in the second half of the season. But yeah, I think the Red Sox end up being the team that's on the outside looking in. And yeah, like despite a really good team on paper, just not going to get to the playoffs because the Yankees have a stranglehold on the American League East, which surprises me as somebody who did not believe in the Yankees prior to the start of the season. But real quick with the awards before we wrap up on this hour, though, the American League, it's not as fun. Judge is your guy right now. Like he's like literally like he needs to get injured to not win this award. Like that's the way that this is going. He's been unbelievable, even better than what he was last year. AL Cy Young too. Like I think Skubal, like I think he's kind of not on lockdown, but he's your favorite way everybody talks about him. But the National League, Ohtani, yes, he deserves to be the favorite, but it does not strike me like this is like big time odds on favorite. Now, this past week, I believe it was over the weekend, he finally threw some live BP, but the Dodgers have said they're going to be very careful with bringing him back. Dave Roberts was on the broadcast over the weekend saying that like it would be the All-Star break at the earliest that he would come back, like post All-Star break. Based on how they've been operating and like the rest of the pitching staff and how they're always so cautious about this thing, I'm guessing that it's not until like mid-August that we see Shohei Ohtani on the mound pitching. And if he's not going to be pitching for the majority of the season, is there going to be this appetite to vote for him to win NL MVP again? Because he's not doing the stolen bases thing anymore. Like I know he has 11, but he's really slowed down in the month of May. So it's not going to be like the 50-50 or flirt with 60-60 like he did last year. I still think his teammate is at value, Freddie Freeman. Like, call me crazy, and maybe I'm just the guy that's just yelling at the clouds here, but Freddie Freeman has been outstanding. Best OPS in the National League, best batting average in the National League. Like, he's right there with Ohtani in terms of, like, on-base percentage and all that stuff. He's playing every day, first base. He's a former winner. I like Freddie Freeman at price. You can find even 20-1 out there. We talked about him a couple of weeks ago. It's shortened. I still think there's meat on the bone for Freddie Freeman to win National League MVP.